live? Are you live? Who's live? Karenlee Poter started a live video.
See that?
All right, are you coming to mine?
I'm going to come on yours. That sounds really naughty.
I know.
Where are you? There you are.
Ah, someone else wants to join us. Where are you?
I'm waiting for the little thing to offer
you. In the meantime, I'll be drinking. Hi, everyone. Hey, Chris and Scott and Hot Rod.
There we go.
David and... Oh, I think I'll accept that request.
Okay.
And guess who we have joining me here today? And if you're guessing Nan, you're correct. Uh-oh. We got reverb.
Okay. Cheers. Welcome to Wine Time.
Wine Time with NSP and KLP.
Sounds like a STI. It's NSP and KLP.
What's up, people? How's it going? It's going well? We have some fun activities planned for you. Why do I keep hearing echoes? Are you guys hearing echoes?
Yeah, I don't know why
Maybe
I'm
you just
hearing.
turn it all the
there
way
we go.
down?
Should be fine now.
All right, I turned mine off too.
I don't know why it keeps resetting.
Can you guys hear us?
Hey, can you hear me now? All right.
All right. We got some fun ideas planned.
Yeah.
You want to
Gotta
tell
lube up first.
She's lubing it up.
Lube up.
I'm already lubed.
Okay.
And
My lube up.
Bryson in the house.
Hey, how you doing, Bryson?
Creepy tricks. We got yays and
Hey,
giz.
sugar. I like that little sugar.
Anyway, all right. What's going on, peeps? We thought we'd play a little bit of Tim Ferriss for you. Tim Ferriss, if you don't know who he is. He's, wait. First, I'm skipping ahead. We're not doing Tim Ferriss. We were going to go into a topic today. That you want to do Tim Ferriss and then do the topic. I'm leaving it up to Nan.
Which one am I picking? Pick one. Pick one, anyone.
They love that you pull out the lip gloss. Yeah,
I like my lips lubed.
She likes her lips lubed.
All right, so pick one.
Pick one. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Mo.
Okay, that's the questions.
Tim Ferriss it is.
Yep. All right, so we're starting with Tim Ferriss.
If we're not saying hi, it's because we're playing the game. So, so Tim Ferriss, yeah, he has podcasts. He wrote a book called Private Mentors, where he interviewed all these different people that have been very successful in their life and all different aspects of their life. I really like him. I'm a big fan of the podcast, big fan of his writing. I think he is the 5-hour work week as well. And so he asks these questions to the Private Mentors people. And I thought we'd take some of these questions and we will discuss our answers, and then we'll ask you guys to chime in with us.
Yes.
Are you guys ready?
If we were doing this in one of our Zoom classes or our sessions or our wine time chats, you could all tell us what you were thinking. So
instead of writing it,
if that sounds interesting to you, let us know, because we have it all set up to do these on Zoom, where we can actually see each other, not just you seeing us and us trying to catch your words as they stream by. Okay?
Good point. So we're trying to find a platform where we can all act and talk together.
We love interacting with you. We love interacting with each other. We're happy sitting here sipping wine and enjoying this beautiful Southern California weather, and happy as little clams here. But we'd like to get to know you too. All right. So here's the first question.
And by the way, if you cannot hear, let us know that too. You might need to move a little closer.
So let me know how my volume is, because I can project.
She projects.
As a mother, you learn to project, right?
Yes.
Okay. How has a failure or apparent failure set you up for later success? And do you have a favorite failure?
A favorite failure. Okay. Would you like to go first?
No.
You want me to go first? See, I don't think anything are really failures. I think failures is a negative word, so I'm not looking at it as a failure. I'm just saying maybe I took a turn that taught me something. So I always look at you learn more from failures than you do successes. So when I say this, initially I started my YouTube channel, and it was dedicated to all women in their, late 40s, maybe, like my age at the time.
The old broads?
The old broads, which NSP doesn't like me saying. Okay, so this guy wants to know, how can I get my wonderful, loving mom, Maureen, to be more of a sexual slut? That was what I was trying to do. I was trying to get more sexual sluts out there. No, I was just getting.
You need to give her Karen's book.
Have her read my book, The Cougars Guide to Getting Your Ass Back Out There. It's on. I don't want to write it down because it takes too long. But it's on The Cougars Guide to Getting Your Ass. If you type in a Cougars Guide on Amazon, you can find the book. But anyway, so when I started my YouTube channel, I thought, well, this is going to be great for those older women like your mom to get back out there again. And guess how many people are watching it? Like, I think they had like 100 views a month, which is not great on YouTube.
Huh.
So I thought, well, what can I do? And I thought, I want to do some sexy stuff in it, like I'll interview a porn star, or I'll talk about oral sex, or things like that. And instead of getting more women on board, like your mom, I got only like 18 to 35-year-old men. So as you can well imagine, it wasn't the demographic I was looking for. So was it a failure that I put it out there for women and failed? I mean, no. I thought, well, what it did is it brought me to my demographic, which is obviously younger guys wanting to hear what's in the mind of an older woman. And I got to meet you that way.
Yes.
And I got to meet you in the audience right now, or whatever, the viewing people out there on Instagram. Anyway, that being said, I feel like that was a quote-unquote failure that turned into a success.
Love it.
Do you have one for us?
Well, I have many failures that I, at certain points in my life, considered failures. And I think that's kind of the thing that, as I wrote this question down from the website, I was thinking about it. And when I got married very young, my first marriage at 17, and I wasn't pregnant. I wanted to be married, not really smart. And married my high school sweetheart. And by 25, I was divorced with a child.
Now, some people would call that a quote-unquote failure. Was it a failure?
Right. Well, my parents thought it was a failure. My sibling thought it was a failure. My friends thought it was a failure. My community thought it was a failure because here I was 25 and divorced. I mean,
but you had a beautiful child.
Terrible. I had a beautiful child. But I also got out of an abusive marriage. And nobody looked at that, nobody knew that, right? Because that many years ago, I wasn't talking to people about how I was being treated. I was embarrassed by it. So I didn't reach out, I didn't speak to it, I just divorced him. So I took on the role of being the bad guy because I divorced this really great guy in everybody's mind, but nobody knew he was beating the shit out of me behind the scenes, threatening to kill me, threatening to take my daughter away from me. I mean, he was not a nice person. So
I gotta go beat him up, actually.
For quite a while, I really felt like that I had failed. Fast forward several years and healing from that, I realized that I learned so much from that experience.
Absolutely.
That by having the courage to leave, because I hadn't even finished nursing school yet, so I was really at a risky point. And having the courage to stand up for myself, to demonstrate to my daughter that that's not a healthy relationship.
Right.
And then I was better equipped to find relationships that were healthy. I knew what not to do.
Right. So is that a failure? Is it a success?
So now I don't view it as a failure at all. I view it as a
learning experience.
I did great by learning, cutting my losses, and moving on.
There you go.
So that was the one that came to my mind.
Do you guys have any failures that you would like to speak about that had changed your life? We would like to hear from you, or if you just write it in the comments here, we'll get to it. We do have a bunch of questions as well, but I think that makes a lot of sense. That yeah, like I always think of it like a little boat. You're like in a canoe. You're paddling away. You have a choice to go right or left. What makes you go right? What makes you go left? Your gut. Your inner something or other tells you which way you should go.
Your inner navigational system.
Yeah, everybody has a GPS. They just got to listen to the GPS.
Right.
You know, a lot of times you drive in and you have the GPS on and you're like, nah, that's not the way I want to go. And you don't listen to it. So you got to listen to the GPS. What does Cougar stand for? I always think of it as a confident. She and I are both confident. So I guess the C is for confidence. Older, we're older, even though she doesn't like to be called old. Unique.
Let me have my denial.
I don't, you know, in terms of being older, I now started to like embrace it more than ever.
Yeah.
I'm really into it. I feel like I'm like a wise, old, yummy glass of wine.
Well, I tried. Go on with the cougar, then I'll come back to
All
that.
right. So then,
Embrace something.
Older, unique. We're both very unique women. People. Genuine. I think that goes without saying. It's important to be genuine. It's important to like be your true self and be, you know, having integrity, like that tree over there. And where were we? Assertive, not aggressive, but we're assertive women who speak up. And racy. Yeah, racy is an important part of it. There's nothing worse than a stick in the mud old woman.
And you know, I've been tossing around that idea between aggressive and assertive. And what's fascinating to me is that men who are aggressive are thought to be masculine and more manly, and that's
very
applauded.
very broy.
But women who are aggressive are thought to be bitches and mean and must be on their period, and that's just such horseshit.
It is horseshit.
It's just total horseshit.
Right.
So if a woman is aggressive, you better damn well know there's a good reason for it, and you better listen carefully and take her seriously.
Yeah.
Just like you would a man who was being aggressive. Right?
Yeah.
There are times when aggressiveness is necessary.
Especially if you're being attacked.
Especially if you're being attacked. Exactly. So,
anyway, thank you for sharing your assertive versus aggressive comments. Let's see, what else do we have here? Before we get on to our next question, do we have any questions or comments that we would like to address? Cougar, how's it going? Okay, there we go. Another person asked, what's the biggest dick you've ever had? I frequently get asked this question, and it's obnoxious, so I'm not going to answer it. Next question.
I have a question back. What's
the biggest
matter?
What's the biggest vagina you've ever had?
Well, the biggest thing ever to be in my vagina was my baby's head and body.
Yeah.
So
I was just saying, I had a 9-pound baby.
Is that a good enough answer? I mean, a lot will fit in there or out of there.
I mean, seriously.
You know, I mean,
anal too. Apparently, I've never had a fist, but I heard that that can be done too.
But to ask somebody, I mean, most women.
Wait a second. You're telling me that when you're in bed with a guy, you don't take out your measuring stick and go, "Whoa, we got a 12-incher."
Write it down in my book, you know.
And by the way, Michael Borker, there is no really good response to that because, well, what's biggest? Are you talking about girth? Are you talking about length? And also, are you talking about like, is that supposed to be good if it's longer or bigger? Because it doesn't necessarily work that way.
Right. There is such thing as too much dick.
There definitely is. It could hurt. Especially if you have, I've had a lot of guys talk about that. They've had these big dicks, and honestly, it's troubling to them because they don't know what to do because it's hurting the women, and you know, there's different positions you need to get in. You can't just do it the way average 5 to 6 incher, which is.
Yeah, I mean, the guys with more than 9 or 10 inches,
like a porno thing,
generally never can get all the way in. It's rare that they can get all the way in. So they never feel that pelvis to pelvis skin connection, and that's very frustrating.
Sure,
you know. So they don't necessarily think it's a great thing to have too much.
I know,
unless you're in porn or you want to flash it. The other thing that I have discovered
What did you
through my
discover?
research,
Yes.
just research,
Research.
is
Anecdotal evidence.
the guys with the biggest dicks
Drive a Hummer.
tend to be all about their dick and never about the woman's pleasure.
Listen up, you men out there. You hear what she said?
And they think that their
Thank you,
dick is
Canesto.
going to do it all, no matter what. They just have to lay back and you sit on their dick and you have these massive orgasms.
Yeah,
and
it doesn't work that way. No.
Not reality. So men's, I don't care how big your dick is or how small your dick is.
If you don't know what to do with it,
you better get some skills. You need skills.
You need skills, or you need to use your tongue, or you need to use your fingers, or you need to use something else to get her off and help her get her off. She might just get her off by herself. Who knows? Thoughts on doing an online podcast? We have that. Sailor Willie, 1980. Yes, we have been dabbling with doing a podcast or something like that. I already do a podcast, as you know, called Sex Talk with my mom, and I can tell you it's a lot of work. But we want to set us up.
We want to know. We want to know what we should name it.
Yeah, we do want to know if there's a good name for our podcast because we've been guessing.
This is great. Marla says the biggest dicks are the biggest dicks.
Yeah, she's got a Marla. You are right. That is 100%.
They sure can be. I mean, I've met some guys with really massive cocks that are so humble and shy about it.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't necessarily.
It's like they don't know what they're almost embarrassed by it because because so many women have run screaming away from them. So,
well, the other thing is
not always an advantage.
It's not always an advantage, but if you have an average sized dick and you're really good in bed, who cares? I mean, honestly, I don't want that. I don't want to be hurt. So
right, yeah, and perforated uteruses are not fun.
Oh my God,
and that happens with too long of a dick and too aggressive of sex.
Right, exactly. Michael said men like to hear women talk about sex, which is true. We had another question here. Any advice on getting into the lifestyle as a single bi male? I think getting into the lifestyle. We're gonna have. I'm turning this over to NSP over here.
Well, we're gonna. Yeah, I mean, what I would just say, go on some lifestyle websites.
Right.
SDC is a great one, and start to talk to people about their preferences on those websites. It's almost like a dating website for people that are curious about other sexual orientations and in relationships, non-relationships. And you have a very detailed bio that you create that's all around your sexuality and your preferences. So you'll be connected. And FetLife is another one.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, FetLife. Tell them to go to FetLife. Yeah, with FetLife. Or any of those arrangement seekers or not that. No.
I don't think that's it.
No. There was another one. It had to do with the sexy lifestyle. I don't know. I can find out for you guys. I can ask some of my friends that are into that. Panesco, how do you find Sex Talk with my mom, my podcast? I'm curious about that. We're always curious as to where to find it. Some people have come up with some names for us. The Lionesses. I kind of like that one. Woo! Wow! Feeling Good with Karen and Nancy. Okay. That works.
I'm liking these creative people.
I like the names. I think those are good. We're doing great. How are you doing? I like when people ask how we're doing. It's very thoughtful and nice.
We are, and you know why we're so great right now is because we get to actually have this time together.
Yeah.
If you look right here, I'll show you.
That's me.
I'm sitting next to Karen right here.
And there we go. And this is.
And oh my God! See, we're here together, so we actually get to be in the same space.
Yeah, we're 6 feet apart, kinda, but we are outdoors.
Yep. We're outdoors and we're talking toward you and not kissing or breathing on each other.
Right.
So I know you'd like to see us kiss, but that's not going to happen.
Now, why would you assume this?
Why would I assume it's not going to happen? Because your pod wouldn't let you.
My pod is very strict. I got a strict pod.
You ever kissed a girl?
I've kissed a girl.
Did you like it?
No. As the song goes, I kissed a girl and I didn't like it, Miss Kate. You know what happened is I was with two people. I was with a guy and a girl after my reunion from my high school. And I actually have kissed girls that I did like. I shouldn't say I didn't like. I was referring to one specific one because I think I was just doing it to kind of like show the guy that we could do this, and that's what I kind of think. A lot of times it's always for show. What are you doing?
I'm sitting over here
The
because
sun moved,
the sun is moved,
and
and
it was uncomfortable.
well, it was making it so I couldn't read my thing.
Oh, okay. The sun was in your eyes.
Yeah. So here I am. I'm
Oh,
back.
are you comfortable?
Try not to
Are you
flash.
comfortable? Are you trying not to flash me? No. So, the hunt. 2 cougars pull back the curtain in age gap love slash sexuality. I would love to be the meat in that sandwich. Okay.
Get in line.
What do you think about consanguinary lifestyles? Is this something to do with blood? I don't know what that lifestyle is.
Vampires.
Yeah, that sounds like it. Are you speaking of vampires? I've come to suck your blood. If I can't even kiss her, how am I going to suck her blood?
Yeah.
By the way, what do you
Blood
think?
tastes very metallic-y anyway. So
Yeah.
not very good.
Yep, that's true. I'm not a big lover of that at all. Anyway, so shall we go on to our next question?
Yes. Okay. So, what would you give to a smart, or what advice would you give to a smart, driven college student about to enter the real world? What advice should they ignore?
Wow. I'm going to have you go first because of the fact that I went first last time.
All right.
But do you want to read the question one more time?
Yes. So, what advice would you give to a smart, driven college student about to enter the real world?
So they've already graduated college.
They're getting ready to graduate. They're heading out. And then, what advice should they ignore that you know that they're being given?
All right. Yeah.
So, my advice would be that this first thing that you're going to do out of college,
Yeah.
high chances are, is not going to be the only thing or the last thing you do.
You know that the average person changes jobs 8 times in their life?
Right. And you know the old days of somebody going to work for a company and staying there for 40 years and working their way up from the janitor to the boss. That's history.
And by the way, who would want that? By the time you're done working your way, you got to go watch Big Deal. Sounds what? We're gonna get a whole scene over here. There's a lot of movement going on. Not sure what's going on over there, but she's moving around like a little slithering snake.
So I would say, you know, don't put a lot of stress on yourself to pick your profession right now.
That's true.
Do the first. Say yes. That's the other thing I would say. Don't worry about picking the wrong thing, but say yes to every opportunity for the first 3 to 5 years.
My son,
and test everything out.
My son literally just told me, at one point he wanted to make pickles. And at another point he told me he wanted to help make guitars.
All right.
Learning some woodworking.
Yeah.
And well, that sounds boring as fuck. What does?
That sounds like probably working for the same job.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So, and then the advice that I would tell them to ignore is anybody that tells them, now that you're graduated from college, you're an adult and you need to act like an adult. No. I don't think you ever have to act like an adult.
It's
in
boring.
That sense. I think you need to stay playful, you need to stay childlike, in that you stay curious and open to new ideas and always be learning something.
Right.
Because then everything you do is fun and interesting. And it feeds your spirit and it opens you up for the very next thing that's coming your way. And it's going to be fun and interesting.
Right. That's okay, so that I'm going to lead into that. My answer is very similar in the sense, because I think we both have the same like-mindedness. But I think wear sunscreen. We know that. It's a whole joke.
Yeah.
But I think when someone graduates college, they don't need to take the road of the safe. Don't take the safe.
Right.
Go on, especially when you're first graduating, follow whatever is going to be something that you find to be fun and interesting, rather than something that's safe and secure. And there are people that find becoming an accountant fun. Believe it or not, there are people that find numbers fun. I'm bad at it, so I don't. There are people that find comedy fun, something, and you might be struggling with that because it's like not a set, secure path. But if you really like something and you do it all the time, you do it to the best of your abilities, you're going to be successful in it. Whether it's art, music, sports, or medicine, whatever it is. So I would say just follow that. Again, get in your canoe and take the paths that are going to lead you to the thing that you find most interesting.
Absolutely. I'm finding as we're talking, I have a lot of advice for people graduating from college.
Me too. Maybe that's what our show should be called.
Yeah.
Advice for post-college kids.
Yeah. Get a life.
Get a life.
What to do with your life.
You're still growing as a person when you graduate from college.
Oh my God.
That's a price.
You don't even know who you are.
Thank you. Thank you. Good looking doctor and
Thank you.
Okay. So yeah, we both, between the two of us, I have 3 children, you have
3
children. So we have 6 kids. I think they're all 6 of them doing what they need to be doing.
Yeah.
And what they want to be doing. And when you can make your work fun and get paid for having fun every day, you got life for the balls.
Yeah. And both my husband and I are in healthcare, and none of our kids went into healthcare. And we were totally okay with that.
In our generation,
we never told our kids what they needed to do or directed them on because I've met a lot of people that have followed their parents' footsteps or their parents' direction, and they are the most unhappy people I've ever met in my life. Yeah.
So
so ignore your parents.
Ignore your parents if they tell you what to do.
Yeah.
My dad told me it really didn't matter what I did as long as I went into a helping field, because he was a doctor. Never pushed me to go be a doctor, more like a nurse or a social worker.
Maybe that's because you were a girl.
It is because I was a girl. My brother became a doctor.
Yeah, I know.
But it's not that.
My mom said you could be a nurse or a teacher.
Yeah,
you know, it's like, what the hell? I should have been a physician. You know.
Well, yeah.
So I had to wait till way a long time to get a doctorate degree.
Advice for dating moms with older kids? Yes, do it.
Yeah.
What kind of advice you have for dating moms with older kids
in general?
Yeah.
I think one is don't inject yourself into kids' lives unless you're planning to stay.
Yeah.
Just don't. Date her, have a relationship with her, have fun with her when the other parent has the kids, but don't inject yourself in her kids' lives thinking that you're going to be a rescuer or that unless you've got to put a ring on her finger and you're ready to commit to those kids for the rest of your life, because it fucks kids up.
Well, yeah. I mean, they have to know that you're having fun. Make sure that they feel comfortable talking.
Kids as old as me.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, well then, whatever. You know, if they're adults and you're an adult, then it doesn't matter.
Andy, what I would say to that is, because I mean, I was in that situation, and still, it's kind of in that situation where I'm dating someone younger than me. Make sure that you just be respectful, and you don't always have to do things together either. You can do things separate. You can keep your life separate.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you don't have to merge all the family stuff.
Right.
Unless, like I said, unless you're planning to stick around.
Especially if they're adult kids. Treat the adult kids normally. Treat their mom as best as possible. That is a good.
And their their kids are going to be protective of her. So you're going to have to earn your way in.
I have my son. My youngest son was always the one around when I brought a date over, and he was like, one time I brought a date in, and they all started laughing and ran into the other room. It just didn't work out. So it's a little awkward, but I would say if you're thinking of it as just more of like a fling, or even like just more of like a casual relationship, you don't need to be involved with them. They probably already have a dad.
Well, and if you're their age, don't try to parent them. That
It usually doesn't work.
Well, and really, no matter what age they are, don't try to parent them unless you become actual parent. You know, that's a big mistake that a lot of people make dating, is that they come in and they try to scold or teach.
I would immediately say out the door if a guy,
Yeah.
no matter what age
Like,
he
that's
was.
just never okay.
Yeah, one of my friends told me that her boyfriend she was dating was trying to parent her daughter, and it just caused so much friction.
Yeah, the mom's generally not going to be too keen on that.
Thank you for all the heart and the love and all the
I love all those hearts.
And we appreciate you being here, being that our lovely president and future, hopefully, president are speaking right now.
We'll watch them later with more wine.
With more wine. Anyway, so we do have more questions, but maybe is that something you think people will be interested?
I think we should go on to the cheating, because we were going to talk about cheating.
Oh, you don't want to go to my favorite question?
But if we have time, we'll come back to that.
Okay.
Because
She's bossy.
I am. Because we set up
but I like it.
that we were. She's a little submissive. It's okay.
I'm a pillow princess. Just FYI, I've been diagnosed as one. I've been labeled as one.
What might surprise you is that there is a part of my life where I prefer to be submissive.
It doesn't surprise me at all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to talk about cheating, because we get to see these questions a lot, you know, and I'm counseling a lot of couples that have had indiscretions and that are either trying to get in the lifestyle, try to get out of the lifestyle, try to navigate the lifestyle. So I do a lot of work with people that are trying to create a designer relationship. So Karen and I want to talk about cheating and what constitutes cheating.
Right.
So what if I looked at your thought bubble over your head, what would I see when I said the word cheating?
Cheating to me means doing something that your inner gut tells you is not something you tell something that you wouldn't tell your partner. So if you're doing something that you wouldn't tell your partner, that's cheating.
Okay.
For example,
that's an easy way to know, isn't it?
Yeah. If you feel like if you have made out with a guy, in some circles they wouldn't consider that cheating. That's just like a little casual flirting when you're drunk or whatever. They might not think of that as anything. Or if you've told someone something very, very personal that you never told anybody else, and you didn't touch them sexually at all, is that considered cheating? It really depends on the couple and what they think of as cheating.
And that brings me to the next part is who here watching today has had the consensual, listen carefully, the consensual monogamy conversation.
Yeah, someone even asked about that.
Yeah. So with your partner or even with yourself, have you ever written out or really defined what constitutes cheating? All the little details, like
what do you
flirting,
think?
dancing,
fantasizing,
masturbation, kissing, oral sex, PB sex, anal sex, same-sex sex. I mean, go through the list.
Porn.
Of all the
Is porn cheating?
Or porn. So go through the list and really identify for yourself what you think cheating is.
Well, this is interesting because SC Guy says, my mom is having sexual affairs with 7 other men. My dad has no idea. The guys have no idea about the others. So basically...
Why do you know?
Yeah, how did you find out? But the other thing is, I find that to be a ticking time bomb. I also think there's a reason that she's doing it. It seems like it's a lot. It seems like a lot. There's a lot going on there, and for her to be doing it without telling your dad, maybe, we don't even know. Maybe she has told your dad. Maybe she hasn't told you. Maybe your dad knows.
Right. I think it's none of your business.
Oh, how do you like that? There you go.
I think as a kid of somebody who's having that kind of experiences, it really is none of your business.
Right. It does make
And
you
we
feel
certainly don't want to judge it because you don't know all the
details. They may have an
and
open relationship.
all the arrangements and every detail. So it's best that you just let it go and not discuss it and just move on with your life.
I mean, I can definitely SC guy 84. I can see why that'd be disturbing to you, because you feel like your mom might be doing something that's unethical.
Well, I guess, I mean, if I were to counsel you, the first thing I would ask is, how did you find out? Did your mom confide in you?
Right.
And if she confided in you, then I'd want to have a conversation with her why she was pitting you against your dad. Because that puts you in a very,
triangle.
very uncomfortable, awkward position. You have a no-win position to be in.
Yeah.
So that's why I say, you know, when a parent wants to confide in a child, first of all, the parent should be seeking counseling to confide in somebody that's objective, not burdening their child with that.
Well, but wait a second. So SC guy says, my mom is married to my dad, but I want her to date other men. And then he goes on to say, my mom is having sexual affairs with 7 other men, and my dad has no idea. So I don't know what is right there. It sounds like you're contradicting yourself a little bit here.
But still, it's none of your business.
Yep. You said I was snooping through her personal stuff. Oh,
shame on you.
You know,
really,
it's funny.
That's not cool.
Nancy and I both had the same thoughts about sneaking into. That's kind of cheating too.
Well, that's betrayal. You betrayed her by going into her personal space.
Yeah, I always think
that's
like,
a huge violation.
My kids, if I kept my vibrators in my top drawer, or my weed, or whatever it is, when they were growing
that's
up,
not okay.
And I thought if they went in my drawer and they found it, I'm thinking that might be traumatic for you to find it, but guess what?
Yeah.
You deserve it. You want to be careful for what you're looking for.
So this person says, I have no problem with what she's doing. So why are you blasting it on social media?
Well, there's a reason. I don't know if he's blasting it, but he's wanting some advice of some sort. But I want to know what's ruffling your feathers then about it. We need to know what's causing what caused you to go snooping, and what caused you to need to want her to do something that she maybe doesn't want to be doing. You know?
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons why people have to do what they do. Society tells us we have to be monogamous, we have to be like this, we can't be doing this.
So that brings me to the next thing. So back to the first consensual monogamy talk. Make sure that anytime you're partnering with anybody, that one, you are clear with what you think is monogamous and non-monogamous, and that when you meet a person, that very early on you have a conversation where you both share your thought bubbles. This is really critical.
You didn't tell me what was your thought bubble.
I don't have. I think the only thing that for me is honesty. If you're going to do something, say something, be something that you can't tell me, because I'm a very easy person to talk to. You know, it's like there's no deal breakers, and we're going to come to that.
Yeah.
If you can't tell me that, then you're betraying our agreement. So I think for me, it's about the agreement that you make. But you know, we have 34 years into creating our agreement, so it's well understood at this point. But new couples, new relationships really need to have that conversation,
especially now. I think,
and often. Did it change?
Yeah.
You know, has it changed?
It can change all the time. Marriage is a work in conscience.
Right.
But the thing is, I think it's a lot harder now in some respect for people because there's so many options that there never were when we were growing up or when we were first getting married or whatever. There was no other option other than monogamy.
Right. It's the default box.
I always thought it was a really difficult concept, although I consider myself to be monogamous. But I think it is difficult. I think it's not an easy concept. If you and your partner have decided that you want to be monogamous, it is not that easy. It does eliminate a lot of struggles because you don't have any choices to make.
What's interesting is that there's a lot of people that say they're monogamous,
but if you look at what they're saying,
but they have affairs on the side, they just don't tell. So that's not being
like
monogamous.
I knew a guy who said to me, what did he say? My wife, I'm monogamous, or at least my wife thinks I am.
Right.
Yeah, something like that. And then he went on to say, the key is just make sure you have sex with your wife at home, and then she'll never know. You know, like just make her happy at home. It was a very sick thing to say.
Well, that's manipulative.
Yeah.
You know. So anyway, so have that conversation, and then what is ethical non-monogamy?
Well, I think that it basically means that you can do what you want to do as long as you are honest about it, and it's agreed upon with your partner.
My battery.
Uh-oh. Hold on, folks. Uh-oh.
I need a little juice.
She needs a little juice. I have no problem with what she is doing. Okay, then if you have no problem with what you're doing, why did you bring it up?
Yeah. So I think that you know that what people do within their relationships, I believe, is fully their business. And if you find out that your friend is cheating or your mom is cheating on somebody, it's not your business to tell, because you will be punished. Chances are the other person knows, and they don't want to. Either they don't want to know, or they don't want to talk about it, or they don't want to bring it up, and they certainly don't want to be embarrassed and humiliated by you bringing it to them.
Right.
It's hard enough to think, suspect, and be faced with that in your own relationship. But my God, when somebody outside the relationship comes to you with it, that will be a relationship that's ruined. I can guarantee that. So back to ethical non-monogamy. I think every relationship should sit down and design itself with the 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, however many people are involved in the relationship, and really come to some verbal agreements about where are we now, and where do we see ourselves going? Because a lot of people are stepping into the lifestyle, which is a very broad definition.
Speaking of lifestyle, where's the wine style?
It's right down there.
Oh, would you like some?
I would. Thank you. Because the lifestyle is so broad. It can be anything from just liking to go to a place where you can be naked, to going to a place where you're going to see people naked and maybe being sexual, and you like to watch, or you like to be watched, to engaging in unsensual activities with other people. Maybe you like to dance and flirt and maybe make out, but that's all. Maybe you will do oral sex, but no penetrative sex. I mean, so everybody has a very different definition. So you need to define for yourself what kind of lifestyle
when you say yourself, you mean design together. You
need to know
first for yourself, and then
what you're
articulate it with a partner. Absolutely. And he or she needs to articulate it back to you.
Right.
I think that's cool.
Then you come up with an agreement.
Because I do have friends of mine that have been. I have one friend who cheated on his wife with her best friend, and she found out, and it nearly broke them up.
Yeah.
I know another situation where this woman cheated with her husband, with this guy who was married, and no one ever found out. But it's always like you always feel like there's always going to be like a painting, and there's just a little piece in that painting that sticks out. It's never going to be, you're never going to feel free.
Right.
You're never going to feel free of knowing you did that. And you want to be able to look your person in the eye and say, I feel honest.
One of the things that I would like to share is my idea about creating deal breakers in relationships. You know, we grow up with this dogma and this cultural and societal norms and expectations. And I remember as a very young woman saying, if my husband ever fill in the blank, I would fill in the blank.
Uh-huh.
Okay? So I had preconceived ideas of what I was supposed to do if he did such and such. Then those things happen. And you're like,
oh boy, what do I do now?
Now I have to make a decision. And so I think it's really important as you grow up and as you become an adult and as you develop relationships that you rethink those immature deal breakers that you've set yourself up for, because there's a lot of great marriages with families and they've worked hard together to build what they have, and one person has an outside sexual dalliance.
Yes.
and all of a sudden they're blown apart because they had that deal breaker
Right.
built into the relationship.
Yeah.
And I think that sets us up to fail.
Right.
Because
people
I know
are
a lot
human.
of relationships.
People are human.
Yeah. I know a lot of relationships that actually get better
once someone has a
after an affair.
Well, that's what Esther Perel always speaks about.
Yep.
But you know, the other thing is, like I was saying before, I would be okay. Like when I was married to my husband, I always said if he went to Las Vegas and had a fling with one night stand with whatever, I would feel much better about that than if he had a long 1 year intimate relationship without any sex, but where it was a very intimate relationship.
And that's somewhere in your upbringing you created a hierarchy of sex is less important than connection.
No, but sex one like that particular what I'm saying is a one night stand versus a weekly sexual thing probably I wouldn't tolerate. Okay. But with no sex and just talk, even how intimate it would be, I think that could be problematic too. So anyway, it has to do with I don't know that they should be something when people get married or even enter a relationship, like a program, an app. We should make an app.
I teach that.
Well, how about an app?
I guess I could create an app.
We should create the app. We're going to create an app.
But
that's what we're going to do.
That's really what I teach at my workshop.
Well, Andy is right, though. Lying is lying. Honesty is the best policy. I guess that simplifies it down to basics.
It's not that simple. Because we teach people to lie to us by how we respond to their truths.
Good point.
You write that down as an answer.
I got to put it down again.
Because if every time a person tells us their truth, if it's not in our little box of comfort,
and we get angry,
we shame them, we guilt them,
then they don't tell you the truth anymore.
Then they're going to stop telling us the truth, no matter how big or how small it is,
right?
Because they don't want to deal with being embarrassed or shamed or rejected.
So how does a couple that has that relationship, whether even sex is involved or not, how do they overcome that dynamic?
I teach them the Oasis.
The Oasis. Maybe that's we should be called Nancy and Karen's Oasis.
The Oasis with the old gals. the old gal Oasis.
Okay, a couple of people are saying things. Andy's saying true, physical versus emotional cheating can be similar. Bryson's saying I view intimacy as more important than sex, but sex is important to me. R.H. Stillman. It's also so important to understand our definitions and boundaries with both physical and emotional affairs.
Right.
You guys are smart little cookies up here. The truth never changes, says Sailor Willie. You guys, I like this. So, and unless there's more on the subject of cheating that you want to discuss, I would like to get to.
All right, we're going to Karen's favorite question.
If Dr. Nancy would allow me,
I would.
To be my favorite of the
I will honor
Tim Ferriss's questions.
Okay. If you could have a gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, metaphorically speaking, getting a message out to millions or billions of people, what would it say and why?
I love that question. Because now before we're talking more like a micro question. Now this is a macro question. You want to what you want to influence people?
Big time. Yeah. Billions.
Would yours be find your oasis?
Maybe. You're going to go first, though.
I'm going first on this one, and I've done this. I've thought a lot about this, and I always come back to the same thing. And it is, here's my billboard. Follow your gut. I talked about it earlier. I really believe inside you there's an intuition. There is something that is telling you what to say and what to do, and you need to follow that because it's truth. If you're not following what's inside here in your gut, you're gonna be fucked up. It's a discord. We're both Libras. We need this balance, and I think that's why I feel it's very important that the inside follows whatever is going on outside. So Mine is follow your gut. And if you have any questions, I'm free to listen. But also, please write what your billboard would be.
Be brave.
Be brave, Bryson. I like that.
I like that. Yeah.
Love that you have a billboard. Crucial for marketing. Karen, so hot. Thank you, Aries. What would your billboard say?
Trust and speak your truth.
That's a trust and speak your truth. I love it.
I think that's the thing the common denominator I find in everybody that I find counseling is that they've had their truth somehow diminished by whatever outside influences or their own inner influence. And they just stop listening to their truth. They stop speaking their truth. They start speaking what they think other people want to hear.
I hate that.
And you'll always be wrong. You'll always be wrong because you're guessing, and so it's not it's just not going to serve you or anybody that you're with.
I like it.
Karen looks and sounds gangsta.
I'm a gangster. It's because I come from Chicago. Chicago people where El Capone was. Funniest way to spice up love life. Funniest way to spice up a love life. What is the funniest way? You know what, Sailor? I'm going to answer that one.
Okay.
One of the things I know, me and my boyfriend, I don't like to talk that much about what goes on in my life, but we are very playful together, and I think that's super important. The human beings, we need variety in our life. We need, people say that variety is the spice of life.
Yeah.
So if you aren't being able to play sexually or in your love life, life is going to be very serious and boring. So the best way to do it is just be playful.
Keep it fun.
Keep it fun. It's got to be fun.
I made my husband promise me way a long time ago when we got married that his main job every day was to make me laugh.
And does he?
He does.
Make them laugh.
He does.
Make them laugh.
To tears.
Well,
yeah.
I believe, yeah. I also like, I think men are there to entertain women, but I also feel like women are there to entertain men.
Definitely.
Because I am damn entertaining.
Well, yeah.
And so are you. And so are every one of you guys. This reminds me a lot of Brené Brown's work on vulnerability. I don't know that, but that's
Brené Brown. She's awesome.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Thank you, Chris Harwood, for two beautiful women. Vulnerability is necessary for true intimacy.
It is.
And Breed's in the house, and hello to you. So is Wallace. You guys, thanks for joining us here. We're going to be shut off in about 3 minutes.
Yep.
So we want to tell you how much we value you.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
We love it. We want to keep doing this. We're going to try to figure out a way that we can do this where you are more accessible to us and we can interact more.
Go to Karen's Patreon page.
We both have Patreon pages. I'll put in the comment section how they do it.
Yeah, it's really easy. Patreon.com and then /Karenlee.
That's it.
Karenlee, and then mine is /Dr. Nancy.
It's as simple as that.
And I have several of you that are supporting my page, and I cannot tell you how grateful I am, and it inspires me to do more of these and to come into LA so I can hang out with Karen and get to talk to you.
Wow.
And we're brainstorming constantly about what else we can do to help enliven your worlds and also share some of the things that we've spent our lifetime learning and trying to understand.
So I hope that you guys understood what I just did here. I'm surprised because I always think the mysterious guy is what attracted to women. No, Brady, no. What's attractive to me is a guy that really listens to me.
Yeah, I mean, the best thing I think any of us can do is when we part ways from being in the presence of another person is to leave them feeling a little better about themselves. Not better about us, but better about themselves. So think about that, how you're interacting with people. Are you kind? Are you complimentary? Are you uplifting, supportive? all those things. You know, every time we have an interaction at the grocery store, on a date, with a friend, with your spouse, with your children, if when you part ways, they feel just a little more loved, a little more valued. That's what they'll be left with. That's a gift you leave them with.
Or conversely, they'll think of you as an asshole.
Or yeah, that. You don't want to be thought of as an asshole every time you leave a building.
Thank you for joining both our Patreons, even if it's like a $5 or whatever the lowest. It does help, especially right now.
Bit helps. Absolutely.
And the other thing, what else was I going to say? We are going to try to find a permanent residency for our talk show here. We just haven't figured it out yet, and we're counting on you guys to tell us what you want, and we'll do it. Like, we need to know a name, suggestions for a name, and we need to know where it should be housed.
What platform? Yeah. What would best serve you? Yeah.
And that's about it. So
thank you.
This is all.
Thank you. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.